Michigan State was bigger, stronger, and tougher. And how about faster? Well, maybe not faster, but at least faster than they were last year. Fast enough to win over Oregon. This time in East Lansing, 31-28. Mark Rogers TV just a few minutes after the Spartans got it done in probably the most important non-conference battle of the 2015 college football season. All right. If I had to point in one direction to credit this Michigan State win, and that would be difficult because, of course, you've got Connor Cook, the leader, a running game that produced two productive runners, wide receiver play out of Aaron Burbridge, and defensive backfield play. I would have to go to the defensive line of Michigan State, the front seven in total, but let's specifically focus on the D-line. Malik McDowell, Shalik Calhoun, Lawrence Thomas in particular. You also had Joel Heath making some big plays right in the middle of that defense. With all that stuff going out on the perimeter, with a lot of very skilled, talented, fast players making plays on the perimeter, and all that offensive potential, those guys in the trenches, those guys up front kept it under control. They clogged up the middle when they needed to on particular fourth down plays. And then the big guys with the speed, Calhoun and Thomas, got to the outside and contained Oregon. Yes, the Ducks made the plays, especially there in the fourth quarter and trying to mount a comeback from 3 to 10 down on a couple different occasions. But when you hold Oregon to 28 points, you're doing something. And again, Joel Heath with penetration up the middle. He had a couple tackles for loss. Chris Fry, you've got to admire this kid. He's undersized, but he plays with his hair on fire. And linebacker from Michigan State, he made some huge plays in open space against Oregon's skill players. We talked about Malik McDowell right up the middle. He made the one signature play on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line when Michigan State made that goal line stand. The 4th and 1 play, he didn't make the tackle, but he forced the center, Matt Haggerty, back into the backfield, adjusted Royce Freeman's path to the end zone, and then the two linebackers just stuffed Freeman right at the goal line, prevented him from moving them into the end zone, which is a difficult enough task. And Michigan State basically won this game. If you could narrow it down to one positional unit, defensive line, and stopping Oregon on multiple short yardage plays throughout the game. So Oregon comes out, they score on 13 plays and 75 yards. Charles Nelson was the main target here. He caught 3 on the first drive. Big plays, 2 on third down to convert, 7 catches, 79 yards. Michigan State comes right back with a freshman, Madre London, who would finish out with 18 carries for 103 yards, but most effective on that first drive on the 62-yard play down the sideline. He ran over the defensive back. It was funny to see him just toss him aside on that one. It was a 3-play drive. Josiah Price with the touchdown in that one as he beat the defensive back French. Back and forth, back and forth. It looked like it would be a shootout after 2 drives, 75 and 75, but then it settled down and the defenses took hold. Connor Cook was on his game early, a bit erratic in the second half. He finished, Connor Cook did, I believe, 19 of 30 on the day for Connor Cook for 192 yards, I believe, though 20 of 32 for 192, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. Aaron Burbridge was Michigan State's leading pass catcher, 8 for 101 for Michigan State. And, of course, it was the play of the Michigan State defense down the stretch when they were just hanging on for the victory. Vernon Adams Jr. made some big mistakes in this game, but considering he's been on campus practicing with his team for like 4 to 5 weeks, and this is the first big stage he's been on at this level, he played awfully well. You can see the skill set. You can see the speed, the talent, the throwing ability. The one play that he made that was outstanding was that 4th and 7 conversion that was amazing when he split the cornerback and the safety on that play. I think that was a 4th and 7. Yeah, he threaded it right between the cornerback and the safety. That completed a 12-play, 78-yard touchdown drive. And Adams, 22 for 39 for 309. He did throw the 2 costly picks. He had the touchdown. L.J. Scott jumping back to the Michigan State offensive side. We saw Madre London early in the game. L.J. Scott, though, finished it off when Michigan State needed to mount a ground game, had the big 38-yard touchdown run with about 10 minutes left to play, and he's just a freshman as well. So L.J. Scott in the mix, and he was one of the most highly recruited running backs out of high school. Expect to see him when Big Ten play takes hold with 11 carries tonight. He will see many more of those in the future. A couple big stars had to leave the game in the fourth quarter. Royce Freeman, 24 carries, 92 yards, left late for Oregon. Hopefully he's okay. And also Shalik Calhoun on Michigan State's side had to leave the football game with about 5 minutes to play. This was a thrilling game. Michigan State hangs on to win it 31-28. Consider Oregon's schedule. Consider losing to a top 5 team on the road, and you would expect Michigan State to lose all but possibly one game. Maybe they go undefeated. So this Oregon loss shouldn't count too heavily against them as long as they stay pretty clean the rest of the way. This should be one that factors very heavily into the College Football Playoff Committee as we go down the road, and we will have much to say about this one between the Big Ten and the Pac-12, and it could be interesting, especially if Michigan State pulls the upset in Columbus against Ohio State. They move themselves into the mix for a college football playoff spot. Or what happens if Michigan State loses against Ohio State, the Buckeyes run the table, and other things break down in other conferences. Maybe Michigan State has enough to get a resume that is under consideration for that 4th spot in the college football playoff. All right, now we need to hear from you right here on Mark Rogers TV with Michigan State knocking off Oregon 31-28.